So you're a Club León fan, right?
Uh-huh.
And you're buzzing after that incredible run that landed them a spot in the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. I bet you're already picturing León going head-to-head with giants like Brazil's Flamengo. But what if I told you there's a real chance they might not even be allowed to play?
Yeah, that's the wild situation we're diving into today. It's a story about ambition, ownership, and the kind of rules that can make or break a team shot at glory.
Okay, so for anyone just tuning in, let's set the stage here. Both Club León and Pachuca, another Mexican club, have qualified for the 2025 Club World Cup. On the surface, amazing news for Mexican soccer.
Right. Except both clubs are owned by the same businessman, Jesus Martinez Patiño, and FIFA regulations, as they currently stand, explicitly forbid two clubs under the same ownership umbrella from competing in the Club World Cup.
So it's not some minor technicality, it's a potential knockout blow for León before the tournament even starts. What's at stake here goes way beyond just missing a few games.
Absolutely. For León, this is a chance to etch their name in history. Think about it facing Flamengo, with their legacy and star-studded lineup, would be huge GE. Not just for the club itself, but for Mexican soccer's global standing. And let's not forget the León fans, some of the most passionate in the world.
And those fans are in a total frenzy right now, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
First, the euphoria of qualifying, then this bombshell news about the ownership rule. Must be a roller coaster.
It is. The media is having a field day with this too. We've got reports from Mexico, Brazil, and even international outlets buzzing about this dilemma. Some are speculating about which team might replace León if they get disqualified. Others are already hyping a potential Flamengo clash. IF León gets the green light.
That potential matchup has me glued to the edge of my seat already. From what I've seen, Flamengo and León play very different styles of football, which could make for an explosive encounter.
For sure. It would be a fascinating tactical battle under Felipe Luis. Flamengo have cultivated this incredibly fluid, possession-based style. They're methodical, patient, and incredibly dangerous when they break through a defense. Their goal-scoring record speaks for itself.
So they're the kind of team that can slowly dismantle an opponent with their control and precision. How would a team like León even approach that?
Well, León's style is much more about lightning-fast transitions and seizing opportunities. They're known for their rock-solid defense and a roster packed with players who can create something out of nothing. Picture this. They absorb pressure, wait for a mistake, then bam! Launch a counterattack that leaves the opponent reeling.
That sounds like a recipe for some serious edge-of-your-seat action. But with this ownership controversy hanging over their heads, are León fans even allowing themselves to dream about facing Flamengo?
It must be incredibly frustrating for them. You finally reach the pinnacle of club competition, only to be potentially sidelined by a rule that seems totally out of your control. And yet, amidst all this uncertainty, the club owner, Jesus Martinez, is surprisingly optimistic.
Martinez is confident that León will play. What's he basing that on?
He's gone on record saying that he's in direct talks with FIFA and expects a decision by late December or early January. He's projected a lot of confidence, which has definitely buoyed the fans' spirits. However, some analysts are skeptical.
So is Martinez just putting on a brave face? Or is there something more to his optimism? Is there any legal precedent that could give León a fighting chance?
That's what we need to unpack. Martinez hasn't revealed his strategy yet, but there's speculation about potential loopholes he could exploit. Some experts point to previous FIFA rulings that suggest there might be some wiggle room in these multi-club ownership regulations.
So it's not a clear-cut case.
Yeah.
Which makes it all the more captivating. We've got FIFA, two top clubs, a powerful businessman, and legions of anxious fans all waiting to see how this plays out. But before we get too deep into FIFA rulings and legal maneuvering, let's shift gears for a second and talk about the human side of this drama. What does this mean for the players, the coaches, the fans, whose hearts and souls are invested in Club León?
Right.
Exactly. Imagine being a León player right now. You've trained relentlessly, sacrificed everything to reach this level. And now, your chance to shine on the world stage could vanish because of a boardroom decision. What a gut punch. And it's not just the players. Think about the coaching staff, the team management, everyone who's poured their energy into building León into a Club World Cup contender. This uncertainty must be agonizing for them.
Yeah, Absolutely. And then you have the fans, that sense of pride, of belonging, of seeing your team reach the pinnacle of the sport. It's something special. To have that potentially ripped away by a technicality, it's got to be incredibly disheartening.
This situation has really put a spotlight on the whole issue of multi-club ownership, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We're seeing more and more billionaires buying up clubs all over the world, sometimes even multiple teams within the same league. Is this a trend that's ultimately good for the sport? Or could it lead to more scenarios like this one, where fairness and competition are compromised?
That's the million-dollar question. On the one hand, you can't deny that wealthy owners can inject much-needed resources into clubs. They can upgrade facilities, attract top talent, and elevate the overall quality of play. That can be beneficial for everyone involved, from the players to the fans.
There's a flip side to that coin, right? What happens when a handful of super-rich individuals control a significant chunk of the global soccer landscape?
That's where the concerns about fairness and competitive balance come in. You could see a situation where smaller clubs get squeezed out, unable to compete with the financial muscle of these multi-club behemoths. And then there's the potential for conflicts of interest, exactly like what we're seeing with León and Pachuca.
And this isn't just an issue for domestic leagues. It has major implications for international tournaments like the Club World Cup. What happens if more and more multi-club owners have teams qualify? Does FIFA have to completely revamp its rulebook?
It's a real conundrum for FIFA and other governing bodies. They have to find a way to balance the benefits of investment and the need to maintain a level playing field. It might require stricter regulations on multi-club ownership, or even exploring new tournament formats.
So, for all of us trying to make sense of this evolving landscape, what are the key things to watch for as this story unfolds? What are the signs that things are heading in a good or bad direction?
Well, first and foremost, pay close attention to how FIFA handles this León and Pachuca situation. Do they stick to the rules, potentially setting a precedent for future cases? Or do they bend the rules, maybe creating a slippery slope that could undermine the integrity of the competition? Their decision will tell us a lot about their priorities.
Beyond this specific case, it's worth keeping an eye on how ownership trends develop across the sport. Are we going to see even more consolidation of power in the hands of a few elite owners? Or will there be a pushback from fans, from smaller clubs, from regulators who are concerned about the long-term health of the game?
This case has certainly sparked a lot of debate, and it'll be interesting to see if it leads to any meaningful changes in how soccer is governed, both at the national and international level.
Okay, so we've talked about the rules, the stakeholders, the potential consequences, but let's not lose sight of the fact that, at its heart, this is a story about the beautiful game itself. If León does get to play in the Club World Cup, what kind of match could we expect to see against Flamengo?
From a purely tactical perspective, it would be a captivating clash of styles. Flamengo, with their possession-based approach, would likely try to dictate the tempo and control the flow of the game. They have the technical skill and the tactical discipline to pull that off.
And León, I imagine, would be content to cede possession, at least for stretches of the game. They'd probably sit back, stay organized defensively, and wait for opportunities to hit Flamengo on the break with their speed and individual brilliance.
That's exactly right. It would be a classic encounter between a team that wants to build methodically and a team that thrives on lightning-fast transitions. And the outcome could hinge on which style proves more effective on the day.
So from a tactical standpoint, what are some of the key areas to watch? What specific matchups could determine the outcome of the game?
One crucial battle would be in midfield. Flamengo's midfielders are known for their ability to retain possession and dictate the tempo. León's midfielders would need to be incredibly disciplined, work tirelessly defensively, and be very smart about choosing when to break forward.
Another key area would be the clash between Flamengo's potent attack and León's resilient defense. Flamengo has some of the most gifted attackers in the world, players who can create scoring chances out of thin air. León's defenders would have to be at their absolute best to contain them.
The flanks could also be a decisive battleground. Flamengo's fullbacks love to get forward and join the attack. León's wingers would have to be diligent about tracking their runs, staying disciplined defensively, and being ready to exploit any space they leave behind.
So potentially we're talking about a very tactical, very intense, and potentially very entertaining match. But before we get carried away imagining this dream encounter, let's take a moment to appreciate the individual brilliance that both teams bring to the table.
Absolutely. Flamengo boasts players like Gabriel Barbosa, a clinical finisher with a knack for finding the back of the net. And then there's Georgian de Arrascaeta, a midfield maestro who can pull the strings and unlock defenses with his superb passing ability.
And let's not forget their legendary fullback,
Oh, right.
Felipe Luis. He's not just a defensive rock, but also a real threat going forward, contributing with both goals and assists.
Yeah, precisely. His experience and leadership would be invaluable for Flamengo on a stage like the Club World Cup. And on Leon's side, we have players like Angel Mena, a tricky winger with a knack for scoring spectacular goals.
I've seen some of his highlights. The guy can bend it like Beckham. He's definitely a fan favorite.
He is. He's a player who can single-handedly change the course of a game. And then there's Victor Davila, a versatile forward who can lead the line, drop deep, and create chances for himself and his teammates. He's a real handful for defenders.
So we've got this high-stakes drama unfolding, potential legal battles, and a clash of styles that could be absolutely electric. But amidst all the noise, it's important to step back and ask, what does this situation tell us about the future of this sport?
It raises some fundamental questions about the direction global soccer is heading in. It's a sport increasingly shaped by big money, complex ownership structures, and rules that are constantly being tested and challenged.
Is this just a unique case? Or is it a sign of things to come? Are we heading towards a future where multi-club ownership becomes the norm, and tournaments like the Club World Cup have to adapt to accommodate these new realities?
It's something worth pondering as you continue to follow this story. As you watch other clubs and leagues around the world, think about the broader implications. Is this a case of a billionaire trying to bend the rules to his advantage, or a genuine dilemma that requires a nuanced solution?
And what does it all mean for the future of competition? Fairness, and the soul of the sport we love.
These are big questions, and honestly, we don't have all the answers. But hopefully. This deep dive has given you some new perspectives, some food for thought as you continue to explore this fascinating story.
It's a story that's still being written. We'll be watching closely to see how FIFA rules, how Martinez responds, and what it all means for León, Pachuca, and the future of global soccer. But for now, we've reached the end of our deep dive.
We encourage you to check out the links we've provided in the show notes. There's so much more to uncover about Club León, Pachuca, Flamengo, the intricacies of FIFA regulations, and the ever-evolving world of global soccer.
So keep those brains buzzing, those curiosity muscles flexed, and join us again next time for another deep dive into a topic that's sure to spark your imagination. Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the passion for the beautiful game alive.